Yo, it's your boy J.H. Gibbons here.
I'm gonna see.
And welcome to yet another episode of the Achromous Podcast, episode 81. We want to thank you, first of all, for checking us out, for checking out this episode. You're probably listening on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or even Spotify. But if you're watching our beautiful faces, that means you're on YouTube. And here's what you need to do before you do anything else. Before you do anything else, I need you to do this. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. The next time you hop on YouTube and you're scrolling down your feed, episode 81, the newest episode of the Achromous Podcast, will be sitting there waiting for you to press play to get these gems you're going to get today. And ladies and gentlemen, most of all,
listen, some things in life doesn't consist of this thing. For example, the word I'm going to say is related to this. Free. To do all those things Jay said, to be able to subscribe, to be able to like our content, to be able to share our content, to be able to turn on that notification bell so that you be one of the first to see it and to be a part of getting these gems and, just dissecting it and just allowing yourself to process it and take for you what's for you. And then dig this, go take that and go pass it along, right? Because that's what we are here trying to do. Now, again, it's free to do those things. Something like this, though, this isn't free. I mean, this may be a giveaway at some point, but it isn't free right now. But yeah, just want to make sure it's to give out a good reminder to love yourself the right way, to take the time to make sure that you are investing into you. And by doing so, you'll be watching this video. And we got 80 other videos to go back and check episodes. And we got so much content for you if this is your first time joining us. So again, as Jay said, thank you. We appreciate you. But we're about to get this ball rolling and it's all free for you today.
That's unbelievable. I mean, honest to God, I do not know how we are doing this each and every week. Let me say this again, 81 weeks straight. 81 weeks straight. We have not missed a week. While there are people out there who thought we would have been packed up, would have been gone, would have switched on to something else, we would have probably missed a week by now because of all the craziness that's been happening in all of our lives. That is not the case. We are still here. We're still grinding because we know that you're grinding too. And we do not want to give you the excuse of stopping, of giving up, of leaving your dreams behind. So we are all going to build together. We are all involved in this. And we thank you for once again joining us on episode 81 of the Achromous Podcast. We'll see what a week it has been. God bless the day. August 2nd rolled around again. I am 32 years old now, we'll see, but I feel 21. I feel invigorated. I feel ready to take on the next 364 days now, and I cannot wait to see what this year has in store, man. It's been a great week. Shout out to you, Will C. Shout out to Javi. Shout out to my wife. Shout out to Eric. Shout out to everybody who wished me happy birthday, my parents, my family. I love all of you guys, all of my friends. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. It has been another great year that has passed, and I'm looking forward to another great year to celebrate with everybody. So thank God I've been able to see another one, and I pray to God I'm able to see 32 plus for the next few years, man. So it's been really great. I want to thank you once again for being a part of it, man.
Hey, it was just an honor and nothing but gratitude for allowing me to be a part of it. Just having the privy to kind of, I guess, for damn near half your life, be a part of that. So it's like, it's been awesome to really know you for such a long time, and just kind of see you develop into the man who you are today, to celebrate you, to honor you as the king that you are, and just give greatness to you and just be a part of you showcasing it across the world, man. We're all about uplifting one another in brotherhood. And this is what we do. So again, for everyone from the Achromous community, we just want to wish you a happy birthday. I'll say it for you guys. I know you can't say it now, but if you do have a chance to get up to this point, drop that happy birthday, if you don't mind, into the comment sections, or just reach out, DM, whatever you like, for such an awesome human being, an awesome person, just in general, man. So we appreciate you. Love you, brother, dearly. And just happy to be a part of this moment and here with you right now, man.
Look, I'm blushing, man. I'm honored. I'm thankful. And I'm ready for whatever this next year has to bring, man. But for this specific episode, we do have another great man who is able to join us again on the Achromous Podcast. He's a very busy man these days. You know what I'm saying? It's been a crazy whirlwind adventure since we last got him on the podcast. And God, we'd love to catch up with him. We'd love to see what he's up to. We'd love to see what he's learned about himself during this journey that he's had. Ladies and gentlemen, episode 81 presents none other than actor Kevin Saunders. Kevin, welcome back to the Achromous Podcast.
Thank you all for having me, man. It's a pleasure to be back. Yeah, I don't know if I've learned anything at all. We'll just see what happens.
What a way to start, right? What a way to start, man.
I have absolutely nothing I've learned in the past year, you know.
Life and its experiences.
You know, it's a pleasure to be here, man. And happy birthday again to you as well, Jamal. It's 32 years, man. I'm rooting for 132 more for you. Like healthy though. Like I don't want you to be like old and like feeble, you know. I want you to have like healthy, like, you know, still be in the gym, like working out like 100 and, you know, 64 years old, you know what I mean? Like that's what I'm rooting for you.
Bro, look, hey, that is the dream. As long as these legs working, as long as these arms are working, I'm still gonna get it in, bro. 180. Hey, get on, man. Bring it on, Kev. But hey, we have to have you there as well, man, because I know you are building a legacy that people can look up to, man. From the last time you were on the podcast to now, bro, what have you been up to?
Jeez, oh man, it's been a lot, man. God has definitely been good. Yeah, I was trying to think when that was. It was early 2021, right? Or was it 2020? It was early 2021, right?
It was early 2021.
Early 2021, probably.
Yeah. About 10 months or so ago, I believe.
Wow.
Okay. Wow. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's been
yeah, man. It's interesting, bro. Like my career has taken a complete 180. Just sticking to it, you know, making, you know, maneuvers and different choices and stuff like that has just truly been, you know, been just enlightening for myself. And just like it's been amazing, man. It's been amazing. You know, I you know, sometimes busyness, you're like, dang, I'm busy. And it comes with this trade-offs or whatever. But like, you know, it's one of those things where you ask for it. So it's if you get it, you better be prepared to, you know, for what comes with it. And it's just been an awesome ride so far, man. And I know I'm just getting started. So yeah, man, it's a pleasure to even be here talking about it. You know, it's amazing. You know.
Absolutely, man. And that preparation, I think, is key. You know, a lot of those times that when we get into doing something that we know is purpose driven, that we know is goal oriented, sometimes we forget to sit back and really take note in terms of what we've already done, what we've been able to accomplish. You know, so I kudos to you for understanding that and in knowing that your career is still building, your career is still growing. There are more opportunities that are coming your way, and it's always going to be that way. You know, so I kudos to you for understanding that, because you know, preparation is the key to get to that point. So I mean, in terms of preparation, especially from others who are watching this, who may be up, you know, actors who want to get into the game as you are in now, what sort of things do you do to prepare yourself for, whether it's a role or even the next day, maybe an audition that you may need to do? Let's actually start there. In terms of an audition that you may have, what do you do to prepare?
It's interesting, man, because you know, you have to, like, I mean, life is balance, right? You know what I mean? You know, most people, I think, have like day jobs and things like that are even in this industry until you get to the point where you don't necessarily need one type deal. So it's like really just finding balance, right? Finding balance within your regular life, work life, and stuff like that. And then, you know, your career, right? And being able to pay, you know, and honor the, you know, what's in front of you, right? So as far as auditions, you know, I've been blessed enough to, you know, be auditioning a lot more consistently now. And we'll probably talk a little bit about that in a few. But I've been auditioning a lot more frequently now. So it's like, okay, how can I balance life to also be able to give to what is in front of me, right? You know, some auditions are easier than others. I might have an audition where I'm saying one word. I might have something that's 12 pages, you know? So it's like, how can you treat the 1-pager and the 12-pager and stuff, you know, and give it justice, but also managing the time to actually give it, right? So, you know, I think time management is a big thing, you know, something's got to give. So it might be social life. It might be, you know, it might be that you might have to stay up later. It might be sleep, things like that. So I think as far as that definitely is the key. When it comes to me, I guess being on set, it's interesting. You know, Shia LaBeouf talked about it, how like, he was like, I never went to some prestigious, you know, acting school and things like that. So he lived in a space of like constant, like he just preps hard. So he preps hard beforehand because he's like, I know I'm going up against people that, or with people that, you know, have, you know, all these credentials under them or whatever under themselves. So it's like you have to kind of prep hard for it. So I know with me, I'm at a point where I'm very confident in my abilities and things I'm doing, but like I always come to play. You know what I mean? I never like not being on my A game. And, you know, and just like anything in life, some days are better than others, you know, just naturally. But like, it's one of those things where it's just like, no, you come prepared as possible, no matter how easy it is, no matter how easy it is, no matter how hard it is. When you come prepared, you come prepared, you know, and yeah, I think it's just really just paying justice to the craft in itself. And, you know, that just might mean just managing time or, you know, getting in a place of being uncomfortable with certain things. So, yeah.
And I mean, you yourself in this particular role, I think in acting, I mean, you yourself are an entrepreneur. I mean, you are a walking asset. You know what I mean? Because it's you are the reason that you're playing a specific character in whatever, whether it's a movie, a commercial, whatever. And I think, you know, I think for a lot of those out there who are watching this and they're like, okay, I maybe I do need to prep a little harder for myself. Maybe I do need to reach out to others to see if there's an avenue I can get in here to have an opportunity to audition. So, you know, I really do think those who are listening right now, just take that note, man. Time management, understand the sacrifices that you're going to have to make as an entrepreneur, as somebody who's building themselves up, you know. And yeah, you're absolutely right, man. There are a lot of actors out there, you know. There's a lot of people in the industry that are you know, wanting the same things that everybody else is sort of after. So I commend you for sticking with it, for succeeding, for pushing through, for constantly getting higher and higher and elevating each and every day, man. I can't imagine the difficulty that you're under, the stress that you're under, because as an entrepreneur, you just never know what may come. But you know, as you mentioned, with some of the roles that you have and some of the filming opportunities you've been able to get into, God has definitely blessed you, man. So take us through one of the filming opportunities that you had recently.
Yeah, man. So it's interesting. And I apologize in advance if I go on a tangent here.
It's all you, man. This is all for you.
Hey, what we here for?
Cool, man. So it's interesting, man. I've been this last. I'm not sure exactly when the last time we recorded. But last May, I actually switched over agencies, right? And one of the big things was, you know, before I moved down here, you know, it was like embrace the uncomfortable, right? And also understanding the business and the craft and things like that, which I'll dive in a little bit more about in a little bit. But when I left my old agency, you know, it was kind of like that season where I've been with her 3.5 years. She's like a mother figure. She's so nice, things like that. But it just wasn't working for me, you know, and I saw another opportunity, and you have to sometimes do that. You have to take those risks and things like that. And I'll tell you, man, with these guys I've been with, you know, my career took a complete 180. You know, it was faith, you know, it was a lot of prayers. It was a lot of, you know, diligence. But I mean, my career took a complete 180. This is not a flex at all. This is just something just hopefully as inspiration to whoever's listening, is that, you know, I left my agent in May of 2021 and got these guys. Within the first couple of months, I already had more bookings with them than I did with my old agency within the first couple of months. That more than I had with her for 3.5 years. Right now, I'm looking at from May of 2021 till now August. I'm looking at maybe I think I'm pending for one right now. I think that would be my 19th or 20th booking in a year. You know what I'm saying? Like a year in a couple months. Now, that's not really heard of. And I do my part. Don't get me wrong. I do my part. I come to play. I'm in the right spaces. I know that it's come with the sacrifice of time away from people, loved ones, things like that. But, you know, I know that above all else is God, bro, because, you know, it's been amazing to be able to do what I've been able to do even more recently. Having this career, a lot of times, a lot of people are working, right? Because you're having to have some stability because all these things are far few in between, right? So you have to have something that makes money, you know, and I was working a job for a while, but my heart wasn't in it. You know, Will, as you know, I left a career job to come down here. You know, there was, you know, money struggles throughout, you know, the last couple of years, you know, just working jobs here and there, whatever. I found fun. And I started working back at the kind of corporate world, whatever. And it's funny, as I got that job, making the most money I've made in a career-based kind of job or whatever, I started getting busier with acting, you know. And so there was that conflict, right, of what I want to do and what I'm meant to do and having something to put food on the table. And I know that God provided that for me for the time being, you know, because I just needed it. And there was a point in time where it's interesting. Sometimes, and this is what I would say, when people speak things up, make sure you know what you're manifesting. You know, it's very important because it's gonna be a lot of times people will say things and don't know the true power of the tongue, right? That's why, like, you know, I don't live in a negative space. Even when people I coach, I'm like, you know, you're not about to bash yourself here during this audition. This is a place where you're going to, you know, need to be uplifting of yourself, speak life into this situation, because I truly believe that is also part of the success that I've had as well too, because living in that space. But, you know, I was always talking, and all my friends down here, they were like, okay, cool. Like whenever they found out, but you know, I was talking about my job, and I was like, this job, oh man. But you know what? Honestly, because I just moved into a new place, right? And moved into a new place, I would have stuck it out probably until the end of the year, and you know, but maybe one more month, you know, one more month, because through stability is comfort, right? Mm-hmm. But sometimes, you know, we really need to figure out that, you know, that uncomfortable thing is building you, you know, whether it's a negative thing or a positive thing, right? So I'll share this with y'all. So that was back in June, right? I was back in June when that happened. And I was moving in July, at the end of July, which I just moved here. And so one of the things even prior to that too was there's a personal thing I wanted to do, was start to doing more offerings, right? So I will tell you, and in my perspective, of offering might be different than others. Like I don't necessarily always give to the church, not because I don't want to or whatever, but it's just like, okay, cool. My offering might be giving this to someone that needs it, right? You know what I'm saying? Or this might be, hey man, you know, I want to be able to do this. My 10% can go somewhere as long as it's doing God's work, kind of deal, right? So it was interesting, right? Because, you know, when you don't have money flowing in, or when you start making more money, right? It's interesting, right? Because if you make $100 and you give 10, okay, cool, you know. But when you make 1,000 and you're giving away, you know, 100, it's like, oh, you know, just naturally, right? But also, you know, so back in June, me and my boss, we decided to part ways. We're like, okay, hey, this is just best for us both. And I was just busy with acting and stuff too, right? But again, having consistent money, things like that, the stability of the safety, right, was something that I was staying in. So it was interesting because now fast forward to, you know, a month and some change later, the whole move process, everything, I was like, I could not have worked a job anyway. So it was a blessing in disguise. And on top of that, you know, I got booked for other roles. Like I was in Kentucky, you know, the week right before I moved, you know, and then, you know, one of the things was, especially when I got here, I prayed about it. I was like, look, man, you know, I pray to God, not man, sorry. I pray to God. I was like, look, God, I was like, this is something that, I want to pray about. Obviously, I'm okay, but, there's not something consistent coming in, but I'm going to give, right? And I think really in life, no matter what we're doing, we have to have faith. We have to have faith in, whomever we believe in, no judgment there. But really, you have to have faith in ourselves and what we're doing as well, too, and really trust that, right? So I chose to, have faith in God. And I was like, look, I'm going to do this, but also, right? Because it's kind of like a thing, right? Where I was talking about offering, right? It's like, okay, well, I'm going to offer money up, right? But I don't have consistent money coming in. So, naturally, human being is like, well, I want to hang on to all my chips. But it's like, you know what? I can't say, oh, I know you'll take care of me, and then not trust that you'll take care of me, right? You know what I'm saying? It's contradictory. It doesn't make sense, right? So what I decided to do is like, no, I'm going to still continue to do so. And it's crazy because, naturally you're like, all right, more money's kind of going out, and moving is expensive because, you move everything and then you're like, oh, I need that. And it's like, oh, I just spent $3,000. Okay. All right. So it's like, so a lot of money goes into it. But it's interesting, man, because when you hold on to that, that faith, and you really are, faith, and you're working within that as well, two things happen, right? So I lie to you not, you can't see it now. I had some this is my taping room here. That's why it's a little empty right now. This is where I do all my auditions and stuff. For those of you who don't know, a lot of times, especially in the Southeast market, you don't go into the casting director's office to put, to audition. A lot of them are video auditions. So you record on a blank wall and stuff like that. So this is my video room here. The two very first auditions I put on. Now, this was last Wednesday. I moved last Monday. I had like 3 hours of sleep one night, 4 hours of sleep the other night. Wednesday, I'm like burnt out. I got like all my boxes unpacked. I'm just tired, right? And then that night, my friend came over and she helped me put on my two auditions. And I booked one of them, my very first auditions, and the other one I'm pinned for. Mind you, also with the casting director that I think I had a negative relationship with. There was a mixed misunderstanding. I thought I was supposed to be here meeting her in person for an audition, but she wanted me in New Orleans, and that was a whole fiasco or whatever. Didn't have an audition from her for like over 3 years. And then now, boom, this is going on 3 that I might be booking this year with her, but 2 of them were in this space. So it's interesting because, underlying, you're spending money and stuff. You're here, you're in this new place. You're like, okay, naturally, right? But because you are faithful to, the creator and also your craft as well, too, to be like, I want to believe in this, right? I believe in myself to do this, it's being taken care of. So I'm like, wow, you know what I mean? So that money that I spent, boom, there you go. You just got it back and then some, now it's opportunity, now it's career building and things like that. So it's very interesting to kind of see that unfold. And, it's a beautiful thing, man. And, my friends said it, my other acting friends and stuff too. It's surreal that I didn't think about this, right? It's like, you do know you're a working actor, right? Like, you're actually a working actor. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I never really thought about it that way. They're like, you've been booking consistently. You're doing stuff that most people don't get an opportunity to do. And like, whenever I get a booking, I'm constantly humbled by it. It's never a brag. It's always like, wow, look at what I was able to accomplish. This is just so like humbling to me. You know what I mean? Like, cause it's like, the fact that I was able to accomplish that. And it's like, wow, like, and I had the opportunity to, and just be living in the space of what you love to do, what I love to do, it's like, wow, so being able to do that and just hearing that, I was like, I am, and I look back to 4 years ago when I moved, and it's just like, wow, like, I was starting from scratch in a lot of ways. I had a lot of experience theater-wise and knowledge that I've gained myself, but like, on paper, it was nothing. Where recently, and actually I met up with an old high school teacher recently too, where, I was having a conversation with her. I was like, I was actually redoing my actor's reel. And 3 or 4 years ago, I was figuring out man, scrambling to figure out what I can put there. Now I'm like, okay, I got to figure out how I'm going to take all this stuff out and for it to make sense. You know what I'm saying? Now, before I was scrambling to put in, now I was like, all right, now I got to take out, and there's stuff that's still coming out. And it's just like, it's such a crazy, beautiful, rewarding, and just a true testimony of faith and just staying diligent, man. I live my life, I feel, as a testimony to other people. I'm like, look, I'm just a dude from Gaithersburg, Maryland, man. But, I work hard at what I do, and, I know what God has in store for me, and I try to do that, you know what I'm saying? And yes, there's good, bad, and ugly that comes with it, this year was a hard year. I haven't really talked about it, but I lost my grandmother this year, the early part of this year, so it was like, there's also that too, right? Where you're like, man, like this is a huge life shift, and all this is going well, but then there's this too. And it's like, how do you take those negatives, whether it be in the season of tribulation or a season of where things are good, and how do you take that and manifest that and make yourself into a better you, right? Or do you take it and does that affect you negatively, or do you take that and let that flow through you to do the best things that you can do for yourself? So yeah, man, it's been interesting, man. It's been a wild ride this year, and I'm loving riding the wave, man. It's beautiful, and I know that it is a privilege to even be in this space, so I do not take it for granted at all. I pray every day, thanking God for just even the opportunities to do what I do. And although I know that I've worked to get where I'm at, I know it's above me, man, for where I'm at right now, man. So it's been beautiful. So, yeah.
We'll see.
I told you I'm gonna go off on a tangent. I've been rapping.
Hey.
Look, I can't even put into words the journey that you've been on over these past couple of years, man. From meeting you in person out here in Gaithersburg and Rockville, and whenever we've had an opportunity to catch up to where you are now, it's just absolutely wild, honestly.
Thank you, bro.
So the one thing we'll see I could take away from that was just humility, man. Throughout your entire journey, you stayed humble, you remained grounded, you stayed close to God, and He led you to where you are now, and He's continuing to bless you. You are drowning in blessings right now because of it, man.
Yeah. If I had to have a takeaway, perseverance is and being able to have the privilege of knowing you, and Kevin, from Kevin the actor, and like being able to, I remember the journey of your theaters and seeing you perform and bear witnessing and saying, hey, you know what, not because I know this person, but like, hey, you really have a gift, just your presence as a person, and then transforming that center stage and that energy, and I recall just your commitment to your craft, and just even from when we first met each other, that was like a part of who you were, and knowing yourself, the knowingness of like, hey, kindred energies, get to know and are alike, and they are drawn to one another. But that was such a strong presence and aura of yourself. And I remember telling you that there, where it's just like, hey, you have this presence, where no matter where you go, this aura about you, you stand out. And it's just, you're not trying to, but this is just such a presence that you give, and it's a good energy, right? Energy is never lost or gained, is transferred, and this is something that you just give as a person. So being able to hear you share your story, and what all you've went through from our last convo with our Achromous community, and just in general of catching up on things in between time gaps, that was a huge takeaway for me, with the perseverance of like still being committed into what you said, and the discussion of what I recall was having right before you moved down, and just kind of being okay with being uncomfortable, and just making the jump, and just knowing the sacrifices and what it was going to come away with, and just pulling more into your faith, is just what is another part of this factor in your maturity of what I'm hearing and what I know. to be true, to be you, and believing in yourself and allow yourself to believe into something beyond what we could see and what we can hear in some cases, but what we feel. And just seeing the growth and feeling it is just wonderful because if you guys have an opportunity to go back to look at the last episode Kevin was on, I can't think of the episode exact number. We'll drop it to let you guys know to recap specifically for Kev. But what a journey from what I'm hearing, and I expect nothing less personally, and just the energy of what we feel and the lesson that you shared and just commitment to allowing yourself to be in the places that you need to be to thrive. And in some cases, taking yourself out of that comfortability to put yourself in an element where you have to push forward. You have to be proactive. It's your choice. It's you. And I think a lot of us can resonate with this. And as we listen to it, where in life, a lot of the times we do get so comfortable in just a place of feeling like we know we have stability, where in truth, nothing is really given and nothing is promised longevity. So it's kind of like being mindful of like being intentional on how we feel about what's happening to us and how we're responding, because what you said with, certain events that you've had to experience throughout this year and still steering the course and not allowing it to send you off track, because it could have. I just persevering because I remember even with COVID and just being away from, close family and friends for so long, and not being able to have the privilege to see everyone as frequently as you like. I can only imagine what that's like, because we know is another snippet for everyone. Like we travel warriors. When we worked together a long time ago, seems like another life, but
all right.
we a lot of time on the road. But you know what I realized, the distance of those sort of moments, it also helped to mold that confidence to be able to stand alone and to be away. And I divine intervention being what it is, as you said, for those who believe what they do. But I feel like it was all part of the grand design, right? I believe in my life at this point now, nothing happens without true purpose. Everything happens the way it's supposed to. How we respond to it is up to us, right? And being intentional on how we react and where we go and where we move. And a lot of the times, something beautiful you said as well is like how we, being mindful of what we speak into existence, what we manifest, right? I'm very conscious in that now, because a lot of the times, if you think about it, whatever you thought and you talked about, chances are it's already coming to fruition in a lot of different ways. So hearing your story and just out here living your dream, but actually, into fruition. Where, listen, guys, if you look and you see Kev, he looks familiar because he's been around. It's a good chance you've seen him in the movies, you've seen him in TV shows, you've seen him around. I know there's probably more you're gonna get into, so I'm gonna bite my tongue right now, let you do that. But that was my takeaway. Thank you so much for sharing your story and on those parts of perseverance. And it was a good refreshing reminder for myself, as I'm sure as it is for the audience as well. Brother, thank you, man. I appreciate you for that.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. We'll see. I couldn't said it better myself, man. It is funny too when you talk about manifestation. I mean, you're absolutely right. There are some times where you may not be aware of the things that you're talking about or that you're asking for, and when it hits you, if you do not have that awareness, you may not know that it has already passed. So it's always important to take advantage of any opportunity that you get. Everything is a learning experience, for the good or the bad. So it's always important to take it in stride. And I know, we'll see, you did mention with Kevin some of the projects that he's been on. And specifically, I want to go back to one of the comments that I actually left under one of your videos, Kev, because I was very concerned about this big white thing, this animal. He wasn't an animal, but he looked very presentable. Don't get me wrong, he looked very polite, right? He had a smile on his face and all that stuff. But let me tell you, man, Whippy is a menace. And when I saw Whippy approach that woman and causing destruction to the city, I'm like, all right, man, I hope this woman chooses well. I hope she chooses right. I hope she makes the right decision in terms of what she wants. And it seemed like Whippy was very, very happy about that, bro. But for that project, man, how did you keep a straight face during filming, man? Because I was dying laughing at the entire setup, the sarcasm, the awkward moments, the still face Whippy. All of it was very exciting, man. So how did you get into that project?
So it was cool. So actually, it's a funny story, man. This is why you always stay ready. So I had a call back for it. They loved me. I mean, they were laughing. We were awesome. Everything was fine. I didn't get the part originally. I didn't get the part for whatever reason sometimes. And then that's why, I tell actors, it's not anything that sometimes it's not what you do wrong. I would say 99% of the time, it's mostly not what you did wrong. If you come prepared and you do the job, it's usually not what you did wrong. It could be anything else, right? So they just went with another guy. And what happened was I get a call, and this was like, I thought this thing had been shot. I get a call from my agent, or my agent texted me, and usually we email and things through there, but he was like, yo, check your email ASAP, check your email ASAP. And they're like, yo, we want Kevin for this spot. We need it this week. Can you do it? And I was like, what? I thought they'd been shot that. So I was able to get it because unfortunately the other actor got COVID, right? Wow. So just staying ready all the time. That's why I'm very, very particular about, one, I don't want to catch it to begin with, but I've been very some people are like, oh, you're a little paranoid. I'm like, well, what people don't realize is that, especially in this industry too, if you catch it, unless you're like a series regular on like a show or something like that, you're going to get replaced. And I'm sorry, I'd be damned if I'm going to get replaced. That's just kind of how I am, you know what I mean? So it's like, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, right? I mean, that's in a lot of aspects of life, right? So, but no, so I did the project. So it's funny, the scenes where it's interesting. Here's the I'm lifting the veil off of those who are in the film industry. So those parts where you saw Whippy, like most of them where he was knocking over the stuff and everything, I wasn't even there for. They shot that after I left. Now, the ones where he's like hugging on her and things like that, I was there for. And there's actually something that got cut because there's a whole part where like a disco ball comes down and he starts like dancing and stuff. So there was so much more that was shot for that commercial that didn't make the cut, but it was hilarious because at first, I see these big pieces coming in. I'm like, what is that? And they're like, oh, that's the suit for Whippy. I'm like, oh crap. So I didn't know if they were going to go digital or whatever with it, but they went practical with it. And when I saw this man in this suit, I started cracking up. But it was funny because that was the interesting thing was they wanted my character, because it helps with comedy, right? Where I'm just all nonchalant about oh yeah, there he is. All right, cool. So what do you want? You know what I mean? And she's like, what in the world? So the actress that's in there, Brittany, she was with my old agency, or she's still with my old agency. So I knew Brittany for years. So when we got a chance to be on set together, it was awesome because, that happens far few in between where you're acting with your friends, but, be able to do it is awesome. So we had a blast. So we were cracking up the whole night. That was a night shoot. And I had to catch a flight the next morning. It was crazy. I had to drive about 45 minutes to an hour away to shoot at this grocery store. And I think I left there at 5 or 6 in the morning. And then I had to catch a flight. It was that whole weekend I had no sleep. It was so funny, but it was a great time, man. They were awesome. The guy who does it, he's actually who was in the Whippy costume. He was actually the mascot for the Atlanta Braves. So he does all the things. He does all their social media and stuff. So, this was just another day at work for him, which was hilarious. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That's absolutely dope, man. I had to bring it up because I did mention it in comments. I'm like, yo, we got to talk about Whippy in the next podcast.
And that thing was 10 feet tall. Really? The whole suit, it was anywhere between 8 to 10 feet tall. When you put the suit on, that thing was huge. I was like, geez. Wow. So you just imagine this big, fluff ball coming in, and that face looks so yeah, it was hilarious, man. It was a fun shoot, man. And Tom, the director, nice dude, man. He's a super awesome guy. I would love to work with him again. He's an awesome guy. Yeah. Whole team was awesome, actually. Everyone that worked on that was from the makeup artists to costumes, everybody. It was just a fun set to be on where everyone seemed like they actually wanted to be there. You know what I mean? Sometimes you don't always get that on sets, unfortunately, but this one was a fun one. So yeah, I had a blast.
Yeah, I can only imagine, even on the corporate side, when you're part of a team and everybody's in sync, everybody's working together, they all want to be there. They all understand the vision, they know the common goal. It's so much easier to get done. It's much funner, and the chances of success are just so much higher. So kudos to your team, kudos to the project. You had myself, my wife, I'm sure Will C was laughing as well. It was one of the more memorable ones you've been a part of. It was just I love the humor. I love the dry sense of humor, the nonchalantness. Like, this is just a regular thing. I love it. I absolutely love it, man. So
thank you, brother. Thank you, man.
yeah, absolutely, man. And actually, speaking of some projects, as you said, I mean, God, it's been about 10 months, right? It's been quite a while since we last had the time to catch up. And I know you've been a part of projects. I know you've got some coming up too, man. But what has been the most rewarding project for you to date?
When is this episode airing?
We air on Sunday. So everyone's going to hear us on Sunday, 9:30 a.m.
Okay. There is a project that is coming out in September that I'm a part of. And I think that one was my most rewarding. I can't say it, unfortunately. That's why I asked. I was like, I gotta check.
Right.
But there's something coming out. I'm in the first episode of it. So it's in the first episode, in the first scene. So we open up the whole thing, and it's that one it's funny. It's oh man, it's so crazy. So there was a show that when I first moved down here, I was like, I'm getting on this show. I'm getting on this show. It's like my favorite show on TV. I'm getting on this show, right? And didn't have an audition with my old agent, unfortunately. But I got one with the new guys last July, actually a year ago. And my very first and only audition I got for them was the one I booked, and it was an amazing part. I got a chance to work with a young brother, that I look up to as a peer, you know what I mean, that's been able to be killing it in the game right now. And yeah, I think that one was like one of those, like, okay, you said it, you made it manifesting, right? You said it, you made it happen. And it was, it's one of those scenes that, I hope they cut it right. I know I'm in the episode because they were actually going to have me do ADR this week. ADR is like the doing audio work to relay over the voice, but I think they were able to fix it. So I'll talk to them today. But I'm in the episode for sure. So I know I'm in there. So I'm hoping and praying they cut it up correctly and how we shot it, because we had a blast. It was so funny. And what was cool about it was, cause I also write and direct as well. The director, shout out to our first team PA. She was awesome, because I was saying how, this show I wanted to be on, and I loved it. It'd be cool. Because we had an early call time. I was like, I don't want to leave. I want to sit here and be here. Right. And it was so dope, because she went and asked, and they were like, yeah, you can stay for the rest of the day, hang out. I was there. I was joking around with the people. I started this whole rumor, the director, he was like, oh, snap, you're still here. He said, yo, if you need anything, let me know. He asked me, I told him, I said, I direct too. I said, I just wanted to watch his work. And it was like one of those, I was like, wow, man, this is kind of surreal. So most recently that was the one, and ironically it's coming out in September. I have 2 projects coming out in September, actually. So those were a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Look, I know we're sitting here with bated breath. We cannot wait to see it. Let me just say,
yeah, absolutely.
No, everyone in our community is the same way, man. You are a talent, and we cannot wait to see you on this new project, man.
Thank you. And actually, I have something I can talk about that is coming out in August. I believe August 21st is when it airs. Marvin Sapp, he has a story. He has a famous song called Never Would Have Made It. So there's a TV One movie coming out called Never Would Have Made It. And I play Fred Hammond, ironically, in the film. So yeah, I'll be I'll be in that. So that'll be airing, I believe, August 21st. Yeah, I can talk about that one now. So yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a fun one.
Hey,
wow. And actually, I forgot to tell you, shout out to the DMV, because Russ Parr actually directed the episode.
Yo.
or the movie.
Small world.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, Russ part. And let me tell you something, man. So I was a quick tangent, real quick.
Yeah.
This was a dope part. This was the one project I think I actually spent the most days on set from a single project. I did something else earlier this year, but like for a project this size, make the most money out of this project too. It was kind of cool to to do, right? It was like I was like, wow, I feel like an actor now, kind of deal, right? So it was beautiful, man. It was beautiful. But I just remember, man. I can say this humbly, and I can say this as a just very just being very transparent, right? There was just a day I knew my lines, but I was just not getting it. I was just like, I felt like I knew I was not my best, right? So, we'll just unpack this real quick. It was very interesting and shout out to Russ Barman, because Russ he pulled me aside and we were talking. I was like, hey man, I just want to just thank you for, just being, very patient, whatever. He goes, hey, listen, he's like, I'm not worried about all that other stuff. I'm worried about getting the shots. He goes, if I felt that you weren't doing that for me, he goes, I would have told you, but you were fine. I'm telling you, listen, I would tell you, you did a great job. Like, don't worry about it, whatever. And although like that really helped me, I was very appreciative of that. I know it wasn't my best though. So regardless, I know that I wasn't my best, but it was very helpful to hear. And I at least I did the job that he needed for that. Right. But it was a fun experience, but it was one of those things as I was driving home, right. Cause I don't really wallow in it, right? I'm not like, oh man, like I was upset and I was by myself. I was like, dang, what was going on or whatever. But then it just kind of clicked. It was like, all right, if you want to play with the big dogs and you want to go here, you better step up, right? So hey, it's okay to have your good days and bad days. There was that aspect. It's like, okay, cool. That means you got to come harder tomorrow. You got the job done. Come harder tomorrow, but also realize that like this is a learning lesson where it's like, okay, maybe I need to prep even harder next time. Maybe I need to really, maybe I wasn't in character as much, and this is not an excuse. I was dealing with work while I was on set, like in my trailer and stuff like that. I was, you know what? No, and that was like the one time I was like, you know what? Nah, I actually texted my teacher, and usually I'm good on sets and things like that. But this day I was, oh man, he sent me a simple message. He goes, if you're in character, then you can do no wrong. If you're in character, everything else is going to come naturally to you. And he was like, were you in character? And I was like, I honestly don't think I was that day. I mean, I think that was why I was worried about too many other things. And when that happened, I was like, you know what? There you go. So although I got the job done, I wasn't my best, which is fine. Sometimes you have those, sometimes you'll look back on projects and be like, man, what was I thinking? Or, things like that. And it's okay. But it was just a learning lesson for me to be like, you know what, to step up. If you want to play with the big dogs, you better come even more prepared. And if that means that I need to prep even harder, but also focus and not forget the other things, then make sure I do that. But yeah, man, Russ was awesome. He was very, very helpful. And he was really cool to work with, man. And Marvin Sapp was really nice too. Everyone on that set was cool. And a lot of them actually were from the DMV too, which was cool. There are a lot of people that were from there. And TV One's headquarters, I didn't realize was in DC as well too. So it's cool.
I didn't know that either. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow, man. It sounds to me, just kind of listening to you, Kev, it's like you're giving us very integral moments where these gems, these life experiences were very pivotal to your development. These moments that you're able to take back and just reflect on and just kind of realizing, I'm not sure if everyone else is interpreting it is that way too, where it's just like, those are moments that help to define who we see today, a part of your journey, right? You manifested it into the universe and you've had these opportunities to really focus and develop those areas, that you've envisioned. And it is so awesome because just, again, just going back to like the visualization of what that could be and just believing in yourself and even in your not feeling your best, to hold yourself accountable. And also to receive the feedback of what was being said to you, not just from Russ Barr, but also, you know, from your one of your teachers and your mentors, and just hearing what you said, what the message that was shared with you, just being in character at all times, it clicks something for me with just kind of like, you know, just again, self-awareness of like, and being intentional. So it's like, I think that's was big to hear that, and to know that, listen, you're not going to knock it out of the park to your expectations of you every single time, but you step up at bat every day. You step up at bat every day.
Mm-hmm.
You dust it off and you keep swinging. And you know, I commend you for that. I appreciate you sharing that part of your story, because that's a huge takeaway for me.
Yeah. I think it's important too, because I think a lot of times people see the success and you know, they see people at their highest peak and they're like, wow, like look what all they worked hard to get there. But it's like, yeah, but they also went through a lot of crap to get there as well too, you know. And I think it's interesting and very you know, eye-opening and relatable, you know, when we're able to talk about those things. So like, yeah, I definitely, you know, don't mind sharing that at all, because yeah, the truth is like, yeah, I've been given opportunities and stuff, and sometimes some things went better than others, you know. Sometimes I went on set and some sets were not fun, you know, and sometimes, you know, some sets I've gotten just, you know, kudos and praises. Not that's why I do it, but like, you know, it does, when you feel like you're doing a good job, you know, and you're being rewarded as such, it feels good, you know. And the other ones is like, okay, cool, all right, he's out of here. All right, done. Let's keep it pushing. They're like, okay, cool, you know, and that's okay. They're both okay, you know, and but you know, it's just all a part of the journey, man. I think, like as we were talking to, is just understanding that the journey is important. When you embrace the journey, no matter what it is that you're doing, the journey is just, you can look back and appreciate where you're at more, you know. Sometimes, you know, when people get the tunnel vision or whatever, and they get there, they sometimes forget the struggles that they've gone through, right? You know what I mean? Like, you know, like I remember the short films that I made back in college that weren't all that good, you know what I mean? And, you know, I remember when I thought I knew certain things I didn't, and it's okay. It all is a part and encompasses the journey. And I'm sure that 10 years from now, I'm going to look back on this moment and be like, oh man, I remember when I was doing this. And well, you know what I mean? But that's a part of life, you know, that's a part of life. And, you know, as long as we're progressing, you know, we're beings that are meant to, you know, be in movement and progress, you know, as long as we're progressing, you know, I think that everything, is will come together, and we just gotta, you know, take time to look to the side and behind as we're pushing forward, you know, just a quick glance, be like, okay, I remember I did that, yeah, and know it's okay. Oh.
And I gotta say, both Lucy and Kev, that is what I love about what we do with this podcast. We are in such a unique space where we can tell a story or have somebody tell their story about where they are while the journey is still going, while they are still making progress, while they are still rising to the top. You're seeing it in real time. So anybody who wants to follow their dreams, anybody who wants to go towards their purpose, just know that you're seeing it happen in real time. Just a couple years ago, Kev was doing something that he knew he did not want to do for the rest of his life. And here's where he is today. This wasn't a 20, 30-year thing. This just happened, and it's still growing. Yeah. So it's never too late to get in. It's never too late to start, but it is important that you understand what your purpose is and know that you have to continue to make progress. And correct me if I'm wrong, Kev, but once you're living within your purpose, everything else becomes so much easier. The work that you got to put in, the time, the traveling, all of that. Yes, you might lose sleep. You might be put in positions where you got to work a lot harder than you ever have. But because you are living in your truth, because you are working towards your purpose, everything is so satisfying and gratifying because of that.
It is, man. It truly is, man. And you realize, so yeah, when you live in your purpose of what you're wanting to do, and no matter what it is, right, there's a comfort behind what you do, right? There's a comfort in your lifestyle because you're like, I'm in the space of what you want to do. And then there is another flip side to it where it's just like you realize how many people don't, right? And, you know, it is sometimes lonely in that space, right? Because you realize, you know, one of the reasons why I'm not chasing fame. I love what I do, you know, but I think that I want to use fame as a tool to inspire, because one of my biggest missions is for people to find their passions and what they're meant to do in life, right? No matter what it is, you know. And I feel like that right there is special. It's important to everybody. And whatever it is, if I can be a vessel for someone to watch, if they're watching this podcast right now and they stop what they're doing and like, you know what, hey, I want to do this, you know, or I want to act or whatever, you know, then I've done my job, you know, or I'm doing my job, you know what I mean? But it is somewhat lonely, you know, because some people won't get it, right? And it is a switch. It is a switch when you're like, I'm living in this space. And what happens is when you are living in the space, then the good, the bad, the ugly that might happen within it, yeah, you'll have your feelings about it. Yeah, you'll have your ups and downs, but there'll be almost like a level of comfort because you're like, I'm in the space where I want to be. You know, I'm in the space where I want to be, and it's going to give back, you know, in some capacity, you know. But yeah, it is eye opening because, you know, when you look around and you see how many people aren't living in what they truly want, right? You know, and sometimes even when people they think they're living in what they want, they truly aren't either. You know what I mean? And it's a blessing and a curse. In some ways, it's more of a blessing than a curse. You know, I like when you're working a job, right? And you're like, man, I don't want to be here. I want to give more back to that, you know. But what happens is you start to look at things as a tool, right? You start to look at a job as a tool, you know. But then you're able to take leaps of faith, you know, leaving a job and things like that, or moving somewhere, whatever it might be, you know, it makes it more comfortable to do that because you know that you are in a space of where you want to be at. But yeah, man, it is a beautiful feeling, man. But it is awesome to be able to be in that space. And I just hope and pray that more people do it. You know, I think that no matter what it is, and it's okay to keep learning and keep trying to find that thing too. You know, I think sometimes some people are like, well, if I don't find it, then, you know, it's like, no, it's okay. Try different things out. Look at different things. Maybe it's the unorthodox thing that you're like, well, nah, that's so cool, but nah, maybe that is that thing, you know, so give it a shot, you know, try this, you know, try that, you know, fail. It's okay to fail a little bit, you know, and because failure is only failure when you quit, you know, and it's like, yeah, keep going, you know, try those different things out. And, you know, that's just, you know, what I hope for people as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, there are gonna be quite a few people watching this, Kev. And number one, we thank you for being on
Of
and
course.
telling your story once again and updating us as to where things are and where things are going. But for our audience who is watching and they're probably struggling, right? You mentioned they're probably playing a role at a job that they don't necessarily want to be at. And I think it's important to make that connection, to understand that you are prepping for the role of the lifetime, right? The role that you actually want, the one that you want to be a part of, the one that you're going to love, the one that you will know will make everything that you've been through worth it. What is just one piece of advice you can give to those who are listening? I know you've said a ton of gems in here. We're going to have to cut it up for the audience listening, but to sum it all up, Kev, what is the one thing that you would say based on your experience that you've had to date that you would give to those who are watching?
Yeah, man, it's living in the space of uncomfortability, man. You know, even if you are living in your desires, right? You know, as I shared earlier too, being in the space with the right, you still have to make sacrifices. You still have to live and take risks and things like that. You know, so and be okay with the fear of doing anything is failing at it. You know, and safety might be a concern just depending on what it is that someone might want to do. If they want to be a professional skydiver, I mean, you know, is that, you know, but you know, but I think it's just embrace the uncomfortability and just stay the course, I think that it's very important that we live in that space, man, and it's helped me out through thick and thin. It's helped me out, and when you get through the valley, you realize, oh, it was worth it. It definitely was worth it. And I do want to say this because I mentioned it slightly earlier too. If for any actors that are listening or people that are thinking about acting or whatever, one thing I definitely want to say, and this has been something I've been preaching a lot recently, for those of you who wanting to get into this career, right? Separate your craft from the industry. I cannot explain that enough. Separate your love, your desire, your passion for the craft of acting or storytelling or directing or whatever. Separate that from the industry of the, getting money for the projects, marketing, all that stuff, theater releases and, budgets separated. Your career's longevity will be will be night and day if you do that. Because if you're able to see this as this and this as this, it will change your whole perspective. When you try to blend the two together, then it's, oh, they didn't pick me because I'm this or this and this. And oh my gosh, they only went with this person because, and then all the insecurities, all this stuff mixed. No. Do the work, love what you do, and everything else will complement it in general, right? And then you understand the industry for what the industry is, right? I produce a lot of my stuff too. When I'm on set and I'm doing the stuff, that's Kevin, like that's this guy, right? Now, then when I take the, and even the creating process, that's all here. But then when I don't take it and put it here, I just understand it this for this, and I understand this for this. So when I'm looking at, okay, how are we going to fund things, the marketing, and when people say no and things like that, and submitting to film festivals, all that stuff is separate. Is separate. And I again, just given the fact that I am an actor, if anybody is considering that, learn that lesson early. And I can tell you, your career, your perspective on your career, things like that will be night and day. So for everyone listening, embrace the uncomfortable. But specifically to my actors, you have the industry and you have the love for your craft. Separate them. I cannot stress that enough.
Well, Kev, I'm sure those who are listening are going to want to reach out to you. I'm sure they're begging to know exactly how they can reach out to you, because I got to tell you what, man, the gems that you are dropping here are not only noteworthy, but I hope everybody is pausing as soon as you're saying these things and writing them down in order for them to take action and put it into their life, because that is literally the only way you would make progress. So Kev, how can our audience find you?
Yeah, so Facebook, it's Kevin Saunders. Instagram, it's Kevo, Kevo _ the actor. And the same thing for Twitter. I'm not really on Twitter as much, but yeah, those are my my social medias there. I respond, so hit me up. I post usually all the updates on all the different things that I'm doing on there, and that's where you can find me.
Absolutely amazing, man. Kev, it has been an absolute pleasure once again. I know we connected in the past. We're connecting now. Of course, we got to connect in the future when all of these projects that you've gone through, you've been able to share your experience again with us. And I know our audience will love to hear it. We would love to hear it as well. So Kev, thanks again for joining us. And thank you all out there in the Achromous community for either listening or watching the Achromous podcast. If you were listening, that means that you're probably listening on Spotify or Google Podcasts or Apple Podcasts. And even if it is your first time here watching this and you're in this episode and you're taking these gems, man, this is an episode that you need to save wherever you are. I don't care what you're listening to it on. Save it. Listen to it back and forth. Take those notes and take the action. If you are watching our beautiful smiling faces, it can only mean one thing. It could mean that you are watching us on YouTube. So here's what I need you to do. I need you to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Look, it helps us out. It helps us all out to grow. It helps to get these gems out there that we're dropping every single week. And most of all, we'll see. You got to let these people know again.
Hey, listen, from what I took from Kev, just being intentional and have that perseverance. And we're going to keep bringing it to you each and every week and reminding you that it's free to do so. Each one of the things, to like the content that we're providing to you, to subscribe to it if you're really enjoying it, so that you know that you're going to receive it if you turn on that notification bell. And dig this, each one teach one. So share it as well. Share with your closest comrades, your family, your friends, your loved ones, people you feel like that is in a place in their life where they can use this gym. Share it with an actor if you know one. Be sure to share this particular episode and any other episode that you've enjoyed of the Achromous content, of the Achromous podcast. And we look forward to hearing from you when you need to reach out to us. And we're going to continue moving forward with you.
Absolutely, man. Look, we are all on a journey. We're all in this together. Teamwork makes the dream work. Kev, we appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to join us once again on the Achromous Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the week. Understand that you must take action and do not be afraid to learn. Until next week, it is your boy, J.H. Gibbons.
And we'll see.
I'm Kevin Saunders. Take it easy.
Let's go.